Imagine a mere 50 years from 1750 to 1800 that completely reshaped a continent and birthed a nation. This wasn't just any period, it was the most dynamic era in American history, transforming a collection of British colonies into the world's first modern democratic republic. It was during these pivotal decades that America established its foundational structure, a testament to human resilience and the pursuit of self-governance. We begin our journey in a time when the colonists proudly identified as British subjects loyal to the crown. They saw themselves as extensions of a grand empire, thriving under its protection and laws. But then a single monumental conflict ignited a spark that would forever alter this perception. The French and Indian War, spanning from 1754 to 1763, was a brutal struggle for dominance over the North American continent. Britain, a formidable power, ultimately emerged victorious, decisively defeating France. Yet victory came at a staggering price. The war left Britain with an immense and crippling debt, a financial burden that would soon have far-reaching consequences for its colonial subjects. To address this colossal debt, the British government turned its gaze towards the colonies. It began imposing what the colonists viewed as unreasonable and unjust taxes. Acts like the Stamp Act and the Tea Act were levied, sparking outrage and fierce resistance across the colonies. The rallying cry became "No taxation without representation." Colonists argued vehemently that these taxes were illegitimate because they had no representatives in the British Parliament to voice their concerns or interests. This principle of representation was deeply ingrained in their understanding of English. Liberty and its violation felt like a profound betrayal. What's easily overlooked is the growing sense of identity among the colonists. They were no longer just distant subjects. They were developing a distinct American character, fostering a collective consciousness that challenged the authority of a distant monarchy. The tensions simmering beneath the surface escalated dramatically with an event that pushed the conflict to the brink of explosion. In 1773, a group of enraged colonists disguised themselves to avoid identification, boarded British ships docked in Boston Harbor. In an act of bold defiance, they systematically dumped crates of tea into the sea, a powerful protest against the Tea Act. This audacious act, famously known as the Boston Tea Party, infuriated Britain. In retaliation, the British government blockaded the port of Boston, a move that crippled the colonial economy and further inflamed anti-British sentiment. The stage was set, the point of no return had been crossed. In 1775, the first shots of what would become the Revolutionary War were fired. The battles of Lexington and Concord marked the beginning of armed clashes between the colonial militia, a ragtag but determined force, and the highly trained British Army. These engagements, though relatively small, were monumental in their symbolism, signaling the start of an 8-year struggle for independence. A year later, on July 4, 1776, a document of profound significance was unveiled. Drafted by the brilliant mind of Thomas Jefferson, the Declaration of Independence boldly proclaimed to the world the core values of democracy. It articulated the timeless truth that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This date, now celebrated as America's Independence Day, enshrined the ideals that would guide the new nation. After years of arduous fighting, hardship, and sacrifice, the tide finally turned. The Continental Army, under the brilliant leadership of General George Washington, and bolstered by crucial support from French forces, achieved a decisive victory over the British at the Battle of Yorktown in 1781. This pivotal triumph effectively ended major combat operations. In 1783, through the Treaty of Paris, Britain officially recognized the independence of the United States, a testament to the colonists' unwavering resolve and the sacrifices made. Winning the war was an immense achievement, but the real challenge now lay ahead, determining how to govern the new nation. The initial attempt under the Articles of Confederation created a weak central government that threatened to tear the nascent country apart. States operated almost as independent entities, leading to disunity and instability. To address these critical shortcomings, a monumental undertaking commenced in 1787, the framing of the Constitution. The founders, a remarkable group of visionary leaders, embarked on the ambitious task of strengthening the federal government, while simultaneously preventing the monopoly of power. Their solution was groundbreaking, the world's first modern written constitution explicitly establishing the separation of powers. This innovative system divided governmental authority into three distinct branches: legislative, executive, and judicial, each with its own responsibilities, and checks and balances designed to prevent any single branch from becoming too powerful. It was a brilliant design aimed at safeguarding liberty and ensuring a stable representative government. With the Constitution ratified, the nation needed a leader. George Washington, revered for his leadership during the war, was unanimously elected as the first president in 1789. He served only 2 terms, a total of 8 years, and then, in an act of extraordinary selflessness, voluntarily stepped down from power. In doing so, he established a profound American tradition, the peaceful transfer of power without dictatorship. This act, more than any other, cemented the ideals of republicanism and set a precedent for future leaders, ensuring that the office of president would not become a lifetime appointment. The 50 years from 1750 to 1800 were a whirlwind of transformation, marked by revolution, war, and the painstaking construction of a new political identity. From proud British subjects to the citizens of a burgeoning republic, the journey was fraught with challenges, but ultimately defined by the unwavering pursuit of liberty and self-determination.